Greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. You are now tuned into the vault, episode 770. Definitely excited about this particular episode. This is one of those ones we actually were thinking about just before we popped up to do this one. We were thinking about, man, we probably did an episode about this before. So if you want to search the archives, you can search through the archives and see that we probably did a ownership versus management mentality before. But we got to go back to it. This is going to be one of those polarizing episodes, controversial episodes. Oh, trust Christian, maybe we did want ownership versus control. What we're going to talk about what the nitty gritty is. Because this will be one of those things where it falls into many categories. It goes into really a stewardship conversation, but this is almost just more of like a public conversation. So it's not legal advice or financial advice, but it is going over the fact that in the public there's a facade that's coined ownership. Oh, I can own a stock. I can own a company. I can own this. I can own that. So supposedly anything you own you could be taxed for. So while you took on a position, quote unquote, a title, quote unquote, took on a title and in turn that incurred liability. Are you signing documents properly? Are you operating as a trustee? Are you operating as a manager? For many that listen to the vault, they would say they're trustees. But are you operating as a trustee or are you operating as a manager? Or are you operating as an owner? We gotta have a conversation about this in the public. The conversation is, oh, trust Christian, I thought I was gonna own everything my whole life. Now I come to you, I listen to the podcast, I heard about this trustee stuff. And supposedly now I'm not supposed to own it, I'm supposed to control it. I'm going to trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Okay, well, let's get into it. Ownership incurs liability, so if you're not going to own it, what would you be? What would you be doing? So many trustees say, oh, you're right, trust Christian, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing at that point. If I'm not going to own it, what am I doing actually? And it came down to the title. You were the title, the owner. Just because you own a business doesn't mean you work in the business. You can have other people working in the business. And you're just the owner. You just get checks cut. So good, just because you own it doesn't mean you have to work. So okay, oh, trust Christian, I owned it, but then you said I was liable. That's true. Can you be the manager? You have managers work for you. Do they own it? No. Do they get salaries? Yes. Okay. Ownership versus management. Oh, okay, trust Christian. So how is this helpful? How am I gonna be successful not as the owner? Because I'm supposed to trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. I'm supposed to not own it. That's what you told me. That's what you shared. It's what the system and the internet sharing. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Okay, well, if we understand that ownership incurs liability, then we understand that there are other positions. It's trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. You don't need to own it, but you can control it. And you control it through management. So this is where the episode gets a lot more interesting, goes down a rabbit hole that most have never engaged in because they're not familiar with how to take a salary properly. They're not familiar with fringe benefits. They're doing work for the company, they're at company cell phone, doing business on behalf of the company, and not even filing it. Not even keeping record of it. Okay. So you're a manager, you're keeping track of how much cell phone usage you use. The company's definitely keeping track of the cell phone usage. If you're using the company cell phone, if you're using the company car, if you're using the company debit card, the company debit card has to buy a uniform for the company manager, correct? Right. So what's wrong with buying a few outfits for work? Has this turned into a fashion outfit? or a fashion show, or it's turned into a uniform for work. If it's turned into a uniform for work, it's a uniform for work. Oh man, Trust Christian, you don't understand. I'm in a business where I gotta show my face in a different outfit every day. Okay, can the company afford that? Clearly, if the company can't afford it, it's letting you know that the company shouldn't be doing, the manager shouldn't be doing that right now. It's not rocket science. So we get into this situation of, oh, I'm a manager. But how is that beneficial and better to be than an owner? Well, many people come to us to get rid of that liability, to lower their liability in many different respects. So, yes, you can lower your liability in many different realms just because of taking off that you're not the owner. Now, some of y'all may say, oh, Trust Christian, I need to know the new title, man. I'm tired of you trying to talk around circles talking about I'm not the owner. First of all, when you say you the owner, that don't mean you the CEO. Y'all want to go there? We could go there. It's not, oh, I'm the owner because I'm the CEO. What are you talking about? Chief Executive Officer is not Chief Executive Owner. It's Chief Executive Officer. It's an officer for the company. It's actually a manager for the company. So that's why you did see a lot of people that would start companies, they would put CEO on it so they could actually say, I'm a manager. I'm a manager in the company. I'm an officer in the company. That's what happens. Okay, great. So you see quite a few what you call founders. We'll let you guys know. Sometimes you'll just see just blanket founder. Really, yeah, they founded the company. That doesn't mean that they're the owner. Founder's the founder. We'll give you modern day founders. Modern day founders is Zuckerberg. Modern day founders is Bill Gates. Modern day founder is uh, the guys Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. Modern day founders are anybody that has a company traditionally on the stock market. Elon Musk, he's a modern day founder. Does he run around saying he's an owner? He's a modern day founder. Somebody that founds a company, creates a company, and moves on and sells it. That's a founder in the modern day. So okay, to a degree, he's still an excellent manager. We're gonna go ahead and throw Elon in the category of a manager. Exceptional manager. We can go back through this list of individuals. They are all exceptional managers. How's Bill Gates not an exceptional manager when he ends up going through the antitrust case? He ends up creating the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and ends up deeding the stock of the company over to the foundation because he's a good manager. You would like to think he's a good owner. You would like to think he's an exceptional founder, but he's even more of an exceptional manager, for sure. Bill Gates, doesn't matter what you think of this guy was able to pull it off. That's how you know you're a good manager. You're able to pull off the concept. The concept that he felt, hey, we can create a company and we can sell the most software in the world. We're going to sell it to the government just as much as we're going to sell it to regular people. Some people may have their opinions about this type of individual, but we can go across the board, and most founders would agree. They're just the founder of the company. That's perfectly fine. They can just be the founder of the company. But then it comes down to, okay, are you titling yourself as the owner or are you titling yourself as the manager? Now what happens is most people don't understand that sophisticated managers, founders, operators understand that they're just a great manager. This is why you actually see a lot of you'll see a lot of in our sector, you'll see a lot of people just call people like a Elon, oh Warren Buffett, whoever, you're just an operator. It's like very interesting to know that that's what they call you. It's like some military stuff in the FBI where they call you an operator. You're a field operator. So what most people would consider an owner of a company, technically, when you're in our sector, we would just call you an operator. That's all you are. You're just an operator. If you want to say you're the manager, great. If you want to say you're the owner, great. You still got to operate the company. Bottom line. So it comes down to who's a great operator. And when we talk about great operators are always going to go down as some of the best managers. And some people would like to not believe that. Oh man, there's no way they're the best manager. Interestingly enough, you have to. This just shows Most people would confuse or conflate this with leadership, and we're not, because you can still practice leadership in a management position. But we're talking about specific position and title. So when we talk about position and title, we're talking about on paper, you're called the manager. You're the operator of the company, you're an operator in the company, you're operating a company, so you're an operator. But no, not to go into it in the wrong way, but to stay focused on the main thing, which is you're a manager. You think Bill Gates isn't a good manager? You're wild. If you think Donald Trump as a president isn't, we're not saying he's a good manager, meaning their practice. They're just a manager. They manage people. They manage projects. You could say they're the leader, and we could describe it as leadership. Oh, these people are great leaders. That's partly true, but we're talking about it from the perspective of what these guys have down on paper. Huh. What these guys have on paper is that they're managers. Some people would like to think, oh, he's the owner of the company. Most of these guys that we just brought up, how do they own the company when the company is run through a public company? It's a public company. They shared the company at that point, so they have public shares. They can't just close the company tomorrow if they wanted to. Correct. You're the owner, though, right? Right. If you're the owner of maybe a small or medium sized enterprise, you could say, hey, you know what? Shutting it down tomorrow. In a public company, you cannot just shut it down tomorrow. That's how you know. It is a publicly managed company, not like it's private anymore. Fair. But that doesn't mean they're the owner either just because they started the company. There's a lot of individuals that start companies and they just call themselves the founder. Or when you really understand what's really going on, even at a public opening level, even in the private sector, where everybody's the same. You're an operator or you're the manager. What are you? Where titles sure dictate somewhat, the liability, and that's sometimes what people may ask you for. You should think about it. People don't really ask you, what do you own? They ask you, what do you do? And since they ask you, what do you do, not what do you own, you're the manager. You're the operator. What do? You operate several businesses. You're the manager of several businesses. You're the manager of a family estate. These are the basics. Some people say, oh, Trust Christian, I found it so hard to transition mindset wise from, what is that? From ownership to management mentality. Here we go, we'll give you an example. Oh, Trust Christian, man, you don't understand. I have time management issues. Okay. Well, if you have time management issues, you have, once again, a management issue. It's not an ownership issue. You don't have a time ownership issue. You have a time management issue. Some people may say, oh, well, what does that look like? It looks like somebody saying they don't know how to manage their time. If you say, okay, I can manage my time, then you don't have a time management issue. What about a money management issue? Do you have a money management issue? Some people say, oh, I don't have any. Some people may get to the point and say, I don't have no issues. That's fine. But then once it comes down to it, it comes down to challenges and solving problems if you're doing that in business. And so allocating time, tracking time is very important. Some people may say, oh, it's not. That's fine. But for the ones of y'all that value time, value what we're talking about here, then of course we're gonna be a good manager of time. Good Here y'all go. Y'all say, oh, Trust Christian, do y'all really just call each other managers? Nah, most of the time we call each other like a steward. You're a steward of resources. You're an allocator of resources. Resources could be time. Resources could be money. Resources could be people you have to designate, lead people into doing certain things. It's just that simple. So somebody may say, oh, well, a manager of time is not just a manager of time. It's not just a manager of money. It's even a management of self. We were thinking about that actually the other day about self-development, how that's been such a scam in the states. But in all actuality, as a entrepreneur, most people will perceive as an entrepreneur. It's a continuous path of self development. Nothing else about it. For the most part, everybody comes into entrepreneurship just like a job. You got talent. Yep. And then you get to the point where it goes beyond talent and character. Now we have to really learn how the word pivot means something in business. Bottom line, the word pivot, 100%. You pivot. Is you improve the process. How are you going to improve the process if you never even start the process? How about that? How are you going to improve the process if you don't start the process? So that's where you get sometimes you get, okay, when am I going to start this next process? When am I going to put together a system? See, a good manager understands they got to operate within a system. Where some people say, oh man, trust Christian, I'm going to just own the business. And that's what most people think they're going to do, own the business. But when it goes beyond owning the business, and now you're in here doing the day-to-day management or dealing with day-to-day management, you understand it goes beyond the title of being called the owner. It's not about being called the owner at that point. It's called being a great manager. How well do you manage these assets? How well do you steward these assets? How well do you steward liabilities? How well do you manage liabilities? Bottom line, is it easy? Eh, if you had your head screwed on straight, definitely fairly easy for the most part. When you think about it, you already doing it on the public side for the most part. You're in the public, most people trying to say, oh, I have to own an asset. You don't have to own an asset. So if you don't own the asset, what are you doing? You're managing the asset. A lot of people have assets, but are they managing those assets properly? Do they have the right management systems in place? How do you put the best management system in place? Some people don't know, oh man, George Christian, if I just study another management system, that's true. But how many people are going to put the Rockefeller management trust management system in place? The vigor that comes with that, it's a team sport. The Rockefeller trust system is a team sport. So how's somebody going to sit and say, oh yeah, I want to be like the Rockefellers, but you're not going to put the system in place once again so you can manage it like them? How are you going to manage something? How are you going to have two, second, third, fourth generation managing the same stuff? Oh man, Trust Christian, I ain't my kids. They not gonna manage the assets. Okay, you think the Rockefellers thought like that? Hold on, let's talk. Let's say that again, cause we know we say it so slow and so cool and so calm and so casually. It sounds like, oh man, everybody would say that. What you talking about? The Rockefellers definitely don't think like that. People in our sector definitely don't think like that. We sit at tables though with people that would say, oh, I'm not giving my children the asset. That's for sure. And they have over $25 million, and they'll tell you that. And yeah, people say, oh man, Trust Christian. So what you saying? I'm not gonna give my kids the assets? That's ultimately what we questioning. Whether you gonna give your kids the asset. So, oh, how you gonna give the kid the asset if they don't know how to manage it? Definitely, you're sitting at the table with people on the low end side. You think about that. $25 million, $50 million. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna give my kid the money. You're sitting there looking at them like, wow. And you ask them why you're not gonna get a kid the money. You say because they don't have the mindset for it. You know, they're not business people. Oh really? Nah, he's not. He's not built for that. Okay. Wow. This is your son. Your child, whatever you want to call it. Some people say, oh, it's gonna be what you gonna put him on a we know trust fund babies too. Definitely. We know trust fund babies, and we're talking about ones that like they truly parents just left them. We're gonna pay for whatever housing you want. We got a credit card for you. Or we got a card for you. You know, you already know what it is. It's not gonna go up much, and if it is, you're always gonna get what we say you're gonna get. So don't really ever think you're gonna come back. But what you're getting can help you live in basically most places in America. Even if it were like a New York or a major city, you can still live there. So like, oh yeah, my dad built a $10 million company, and he passed away, and my stepmom, she's getting some money, and me and my brother, we're getting some money, or me and my sister, we're getting some money, and that's how that looks. The company's decent, His dad was smart enough to set the company up in a position where he didn't really sell off everything. He still had some interest in it, but he sold it to a private party. Private party came in, took over the company, and they're just managing the company at this point. That's what a manager does. So it's like, oh, trust Christian. But really, how deep does it get? First of all, the better you are as a manager, the better you'll be able to identify better managers, for sure. And you can identify good managers, you can identify decent managers, you can identify managers that you know, okay, if something were to happen, I got a good manager on deck for what I'm working on or what I built. Do I have a good manager in my back pocket? How many people really have a good manager in their back pocket? And it's interesting because a lot of people will get taken. We know a lot of people that would, they reach out to the vault and they'll tell you they got taken. Of course, they got taken because they didn't understand how to set up the estate before they pass. Even in a position where they got a business partner, we hear people talk about it. We're gonna go ahead and say this for sure. First of all, if you in trust, you gotta deal with other people in trust. And that might be a hard pill to swallow, but that's the reality. Because everybody else is a liability. So when we're sitting out here talking to people and trustees come on, oh yeah, I'm doing business with that person, I'm doing business with this person, I want to do business with this person. How you want to do business with this person and they not in trusteeship? So you gonna keep going down the path of the public route, or you gonna turn from your ways and just do what the private people do? Deal with each other. Whether you know it or not, you actually like, here we go. If you're coming from the public side, you don't really know that in the private sector, yes, it's a lot of people that are independently wealthy. So they have money. So when you start talking all this trustee stuff, you're entering into a sector where people have $1 million minimum check size. It's really more like 3 to 5. That's who you're dealing with. So when you say like you are in the public sector, you open up an LLC. I'll open up an LLC or a corporation for $200 or $300. Yeah. How much money you gonna get on the public side if you open up the company tomorrow? Oh man, I got a line of credit. It's based off my credit. I got a 700 or 800 credit score. I could get pretty much a loan for any business up to $500,000 with no business experience. Let's talk about it, because a lot of the banks gonna ask you for on the public side for business experience. You go into the private sector, it's based off of a relationship. It's based off somebody believing in you, believing in your concept, believing in your idea, believing in what you actually are working on. Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, great. So once again, it's different. It's not even based off your credit score. It's based off of the relationship. It's based off the idea and them believing in you, believing in the team, whatever you got going on. The idea, as people would like to say. Okay. Some people say, I don't know these private people to go to. We already mentioned to you, it's the people in trust. So you're going to find out who these people are. You're going to search your local area. You're going to do your best, start sniffing and finding around what are the environments that are hosting for these people that are in the environment that you say you want to be in or say you're aspiring to be in. We could tell y'all public events, but we could also say you want to go ahead and just double down, get straight to the money, because we ain't gonna sit here and tell y'all keep spending your money. Oh, go ahead out there and play golf. How many people want to keep hearing that? Play golf. One of the easiest places to find the people we talking about. It's at a country club. But for some odd reason, oh, trust Christian, I gotta get my chips together for that. Okay, well, that's the case. If you gonna go to a country club, some people think you really have to play golf, be like an excellent golfer or something to actually, to actually, meet people in golf, and you don't. You don't. You can actually just make it a point to be in the right place at the right time, and you got the right idea with the right people. Is it not all right? Oh no, Church Christian. Is it that easy? Is it that simple? Think about it. Are you around the wrong people? You got the right people and the wrong people. The right people are the ones that are going to progressively help you get towards the goal and the dream accomplished. Is it and we even think about it right now. You can't be mad that you dreamed big and now you have to leave the wrong people. and stop doing the wrong things and dealing with the wrong people. Oh, trust Christian, is it really like that? 100%. You just come to find out, like, man, it's not a lot of the right people for me. Correct. Because it's not that you needed 8 billion people in the first place. You didn't need 8 billion people to sit on your board of the trustees. You didn't need to have 8 billion people working for the company. You just needed a few that were going to get the job done the way that it was needed to get done to get the vision that you was looking to have done. Bottom line. Is that hard to grasp? For some it will be. For some it will be. Trust Christian, man, this is supposed to be about being a manager versus the owner. Well, after we leave that you're not looking to be the owner and you're looking to be an exceptional manager, how do you become an exceptional manager? Well, it comes down to getting around other great exceptional managers. Some people might not want to hear that. It costs too much, Trust Christian. It's a hard pill to swallow. Oh, whoa-de, whoa-de, whoa. What are you talking about? Here we go. We're going to go ahead and give y'all the shortcut. Because it's a hard pill to swallow. Oh, Trust Christian, what do you do in your free time when you're not building a business? Having conversations with other successful people. How do you have those conversations? A conversation is not two people talking to each other. A conversation is one person talking and the other person listening. So the way that we do that, we listen to audiobooks, or you read a book. You listen to another successful manager. So when we talk about the Rockefellers and the Rockefeller management system, sure, you got to go out there and execute the system. You got to go out there and practice the system. You got to put the system into practice. Okay, great. But you read about it. You learn about it. And then you learn about different systems. So you just learn about different management systems. And once again, if I'm going to implement the Rockefeller management system, then you're learning about the Rockefeller system. You're just listening to different things that they did, various different moves, doing your best to correlate the management decisions. Of course, it would be a pleasure to know the minutes that they have for it, whether y'all know it or not, whether people know it or not. We'll go ahead and say it. They may not have the minutes in the public, but they have their system in the public, and that alone. And we may not say fully they have their full system in place, but from what we could see, there are public institutions that have built their system off of what you can see in the public from the Rockefeller Trust System, period. Rockefeller Management System, period. These are individuals, it's just like the Rothschilds. They tell you, oh yeah, we have a system and we don't own anything. Simple as that. How do they know that? How do you know that? You can look at it publicly. So they're telling you they don't own it. Oh man, these people own all these different things, man. But I thought they owned it, man. But it's in a trust, man. They got all these different. Then people really find out. Wow, it's a lot of entities in place. Exactly. You don't want to know hundreds, maybe even thousands. You don't want to know that. Nah, man. There's no way it could be that complex. Uh, when you're running a global company, a global estate, you definitely have 1,000 for sure. That's minimum. People in the States have that much, but for sure. Internationally, yeah. You want to keep everything in its own jurisdiction. So, is that not how the manager gonna go over there and operate? Of course. But how would you not be thinking about it? Just like we were on the line the other day with some Rufus Doofus sitting here trying to say, oh yeah, common law this, common law that. Well, so if you travel and these other countries are operating with a level of common law, that's their base jurisdiction. What are you talking about? That's their base jurisdiction. It's the common law. What else would it be? Statutory? Statutory is built on the common law. But they'll try to sit here, the attorneys in the public, they'll try to flim flam you and flip you over to the side. Oh yeah, you stay in a domestic entity and try to operate internationally in the same entity as you're operating in the States. That's what they telling you? Exactly. But people fall for it. Oh man, I don't want to operate with the same thing in another territory, but they operate on common law, so there's some similarities in the jurisdiction. Correct. And it's also, hey, can I operate independently in this jurisdiction too? Just like I'm doing in my current jurisdiction. Can I operate privately in this jurisdiction? But how many people know that? How would they know that? And that's why it's so vitally important to go through trustee training, to make sure you have the management mentality. Oh man, trust Christian. Am I just supposed to be focused on preserving wealth, or am I supposed to be growing the assets too, growing the investments? Sounds like you're supposed to be growing it. Sound like you're supposed to be doing it. It's a mindset, ladies and gentlemen. But we also know, the mentors we sit around, they be on execution. Trust Christian involved. We here for execution. This is one of those seasons in your life. This is bottom line, and we get it. We get it for sure. There's so many that don't get it, but we get it, ladies and gentlemen. That when it comes down to management, it's not as sexy even as they're saying you own something. We could say that much for sure. It doesn't look sexy, and we get it. But at the end of the day, it's business, not personal. And when you start owning stuff, you start making things personal. Oh man, we gotta have this situation on this person. We're gonna bring all their assets out. Why you think they bring what they bringing assets out for? If it's a certain type of case, what they bringing out assets for? Because it's penal in nature. So since it's penal in nature, we talking pecuniary. Pecuniary means financial in nature. So it's financial. We got to bring out their assets. Right. That's what we want to know. Okay. The asset base? Yeah. Oh, how many assets did he have in his name? How many assets did she have in her name? They don't want to know how many liabilities you got in your name. How many bills you got. They want to know what? The expenses you got. They want to know what? What's your asset base look like? In your name specifically. Why? Because the system knows that you're not private. Because if you were, when you were in the public, you wouldn't own anything. You would trust Christian. Own nothing, control everything. And that's why we're the best. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. And we look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.